I'm going to put the disclaimer here yet again. Do not go out and contact or harass anyone involved in the production of this film. People did put their all into this movie, and if it helps them pay the bills, so be it. Please attack the argument, not the people who worked on this film. Thank you very much. Hello everyone. My name is Brad Clark and welcome back to, I guess, the first video game movie review I'm doing on this channel. We're going to be reviewing a movie that came out this year, to much division, I would say, from what I've seen. Five Nights at Freddys 2. So this movie jumps off the back from the second movie, which came out about 2 years ago, which I did rewatch it recently. TLDR. When I think about the first movie upon my recent rewatch is I think it's a pretty decent fan film. When I say fan film, it feels like a fan film in some ways, but it's not a very scary film. Scott Cawthon goes back to writing, and Emma returns back to directorial duties for this film. Josh Hutcherson from The Hunger Games and Elizabeth Lail from the previous two movies, as well as Piper Rudio, along with the one and legendary William Afton, played by Matthew Lillard himself. Spoiler alert for the plot. The plot picks up, I want to say, at least a few months after the first movie. It takes place around 2002, which is confusing because the first movie, it's insinuated takes place 2 years early in 2000. Irrespective of that, the film sets itself up with the premise of Michael Afton trying to let Charlotte, aka Charlie the marionette, wreak havoc for some reason, from what I understand. It wasn't really too well explained other than, oh, she's mad at all parents, so she wants to kill them all. But Michael Afton's motivations, besides him following his father's legacy, is not really fleshed out exactly. Otherwise, some of the scenes I really liked in this movie was some of the flashback scenes with Matthew Lillard and Elizabeth's character, Vanessa. As far as I know, Vanessa is a character from the newer games like Security Breach. To preface this, I haven't really played the games besides the first four, but I kind of am a more casual, I guess, so to speak, in terms of a fan. I know about the lore and everything, unfortunately, to some, but I really liked those scenes as I thought they were the most interesting. And the shocking twist of Balloon Baby was quite surprising, although I felt like she was kind of out of place in the movie in terms of like her appearance in the movie. Performances wise, some of them do pretty well. I really liked Freddie Carter's portrayal of William Afton, but I think it's the wrong character. I know from what I've heard, they separate Michael Afton, aka Mike Schmidt, into two separate characters in terms of their personalities. But it got a little bit confusing because one's called Mike Schmidt and one's called Michael Afton. When I went to go see this with some people, they got a little bit confused. Again, because they're using the same first name, I thought that could have been fixed a little bit more. But like I said, performances were pretty decent. I was actually quite surprised Megan Fox's portrayal of Toy Chica, and I think Toy Chica got the most screen time in terms of toy animatronics. Her performance was actually not too bad. It's definitely a step up from her portrayal as Natara from the new Mortal Kombat games, which I know I haven't talked about on this channel because I left the fandom, but that's irrelevant to my point. Toy Bonnie was cameo. I could barely even tell it was MatPat, which might be a good thing because they filtered out his voice, so it was a little bit more harder to detect. But then again, I wasn't with a crowd of people when I saw this. I think I saw this maybe like a few weeks after. Or one of the most important aspects of this movie was the death scenes. The one death I thought was the most interesting was Mangle's killing one of the quote-unquote spectral scoopers. He was basically ripped to pieces. Another criticism I have is some of the gory, quote-unquote gory deaths in this movie. A lot of it's censored, which makes sense. I don't know if we'll ever get a director's cut where we see more of the blood and gore stuff, which is fine. I don't really care too much. I'm not that well invested into franchise. But I really liked his a lot. Although the one missed opportunity from this movie, I think, was showing Mangle's jump scare animation. The writing was okay. I think it could have been a lot better in a lot of parts. I really like Mr. Berg's character, played by Wayne Knight, of Jurassic Park and Toy Story 2 fame. The animated Buzz Lightyear TV series, if you know that, you know. He was a jerk, and he kind of reminded me of Dennis Nedry. The one missed opportunity, I think, this movie was to show a death scene that it's kind of reminiscent of his death from Jurassic Park, but otherwise the plot was just okay. It was kind of hard to follow. It definitely feels like what the Deathly Hallows was for Harry Potter, for this film franchise. It feels like a part one, and there's a lot cut out or missing, which might have been for time. This movie's only about 1 hour and 44 minutes, but it felt like it kind of dragged on at points. Like it was much more slower pace. Like the ruined animatronics were barely used, and the Deus Ex Machina of the quote-unquote newer animatronics from the first location coming back to destroy the toy animatronics was a little bit cliche, in my opinion. It made sense, I guess, but it felt very cliche. Josh Hutcherson's performance was pretty good. I really liked how he, from his sister Abby, and Vanessa calls him out for it. I just didn't quite understand until like really think about it recently. The souls of the animatronics were basically trying to keep William Afton in place, like to make sure that he doesn't come back. And the post-credits scene reveals Springtrap coming to life, which is meant to reference how the third game is coming, basically. The ending kind of reminded me of the first Evil Dead movie, where Charlotte's soul, despite being defeated by all the other characters like Vanessa and Josh Hutcherson, goes on to possess Vanessa Shelley's character and become the quote-unquote new bad guy. This movie feels like I said, what the Deathly Hallows Part 1. There was some missed opportunity, I think, for more gory kills, as well as just to kind of explain and elaborate the lore a little bit more. Not necessarily for myself, who's kind of familiar with the lore, but more so for casual moviegoers. Now, do I think this is the worst movie of the year? No. Do I think it's the best movie of the year? Also no. Another thing I forgot before I wrap up, Spectral Scoopers. If anyone remembers Ghost Trackers, it kind of reminded me of that show. At least the premise and some of the fonts that these were some of it, as well as the way how they shot the quote-unquote ghost hunting show. As somebody who grew up with a lot of ghost hunting shows, I really did appreciate that. And it kind of felt like a callback to the ghost hunting script. What would I rate this movie? It's definitely better than Jurassic Park 7. That is for sure. And like I said in the disclaimer, I'm more of a casual fan, although I know what the lore is, but I also know it could get very convoluted. The one thing I will say is, although Scott Cawthon's mystery element isn't always the best and a little bit confusing, I will give him credit for when he does try to explain some stuff, like to be a good storyteller. He's not a professional, obviously, but he does try, unlike J.J. Abrams, to rate this movie. I'm probably going to have to give this a 4 out of 10. The cinematography also was okay at points. Some pretty interesting stuff, I would say. I definitely like the more abstract stuff, like the opener was pretty abstract, as well as the Vanessa's dream theory sequence. I definitely like cinematography and the storytelling like that because it's a little bit more abstract and it requires you to think a little bit more. But the story was a little bit confusing. It definitely feels like it's a Deathly Hallows Part 1, and I'm really hoping that the third and hopefully the final one explains everything and does it at least in a decent bow. The performances were pretty decent, like I said, but the biggest thing that's holding us back this movie is not so much the direction in terms of the directing, because the directing is fine. It is the writing, I think, that needs to be fixed a lot. In terms of this series, if we are to get the third and hopefully final piece of this puzzle that concludes the trilogy. What did you think of this movie? Let me know in the comments down below. Did you love it? Hate it? I know I'm probably going to get a lot of flack and flame and trolling from this, but like I said, I'm just speaking as from my subjective taste. I try to give benefit of the doubt when it's needed, but like I said, there are some problems with this movie, but it's not like Jurassic World, where I think Jurassic World has lost its steam. This one, on the other hand, I think did try to course correct some of the stuff from the first movie, but I think it made it a little bit more confusing and made things a little bit more difficult for me to enjoy this movie. But let me know what you think down below, and I hope to see you soon.